Welcome to our garden on a beautiful spring afternoon. Lovely day, but we're in dark times, so I thought I'd share a story that I first picked up from Michael Forman's lovely little book of fairy tales over 20 years ago. And so this is the story of the day the sun smiled, and this is how I will tell it to you. I'm going to take you to India. Now, India is a very, very big country, and it's a big country made up of lots of small states or small countries, and one of the smallest is Sikkim. And people said that Sikkim was the happiest place in the world. People said that if trouble came to Sikkim, trouble would only last as long as it took a bird to fly across the sky. But one day, trouble did come to Sikkim. And the bird of trouble beat her great dark wings over Sikkim for days, for weeks, for months, and her great dark wings blotted out the sun so that it was dark in Sikkim. Of course, troubles do leave, even if they last days, weeks, and months, and eventually the bird of trouble flew from the sky. But Sikkim stayed dark. You see, the sun up in the sky had got so used to the idea that even though he was shining as hard as he could, the light that he was giving was being blocked out by the wings of the bird of trouble, that he'd given up. He had just pulled the clouds around him and fallen fast asleep. So, it was still dark, because the sun was still asleep. And the people and the creatures of Sikkim realized that something was wrong. Now, the first ones to realize what needed to be done were the birds. And how would they try to wake the sun up? Of course, they tried to wake up the sun with their song. So that's what they tried. Did it wake the sun up? Of course it didn't. So the next one to try was the bear. And the bear came out, and he gave a great roar. Did it wake the sun? No, of course it didn't. The porcupine had an idea. He shuffled round and turned his back on the clouds that were above, and he squeezed his back hard, and his spikes sprang out of his back and flew up, up, up into the air. And did they wake the sun up? No. But what they did do was, once they had gone up, was come down and land on the people of Sikkim, who realized it was time that they took charge. Now, the men knew what to do, because men generally know what to do. So the men of Sikkim found every arrow they could find, and they built fires, and they put their arrows' ends in the fires so that they were burning brands, and they put their burning arrows into their bows, and they fired them up, hundreds and hundreds of burning torches flying up into the clouds. And did that wake the sun up? No. The women of Sikkim watched the men take their arrows, make the fire, set fire to their arrows, and fire their arrows up into the sky. And then the women of Sikkim said, because they knew what to do, they found everything that was metal. They found bells and pots and pans and plates, and they bashed everything together with a loud clang, 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 clang. And did that wake the sun up? No. The children thought that they could wake the sun up. So what they did was they played the loudest games they could play. They played football, they played well, I don't know, it's so long since I played games as a child. But I can tell you that their games didn't work, and the sun stayed fast asleep. Now, there was a little girl who'd managed, I don't know how, to sleep through everything. She had slept through the birds going. She'd slept through the bear going. She'd slept through the porcupine going. ding with his spines. She'd slept through all the men going with their arrows, firing them up into the sky. She'd slept through the women going ding-a-ling-ling-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling. She'd slept through all the children playing you're it, you're it, you're it. And when she woke up, she rubbed her eyes, and the first thing she noticed was an animal who was perfectly happy with it being dark. And this animal, who loves the dark, was hanging upside down from one of the rafters with a huge smile on his face, because Bat had never seen anything so funny in his life. He'd seen everything. He'd seen the birds going, he'd seen the bear going, rat, seen the porcupine go, boing, seen the men firing the arrows, seen the women ringing the bells, ding-a-ling-a-ling, seen the children going, you're it, and he thought it was hilarious, and he had a huge grin, and the little girl looked up, and she saw the upside-down grin of the bat, and she laughed. Her father heard her. What are you doing? How dare you laugh? This is very serious. Don't you realise the sun is still asleep? What are you laughing at? A bat. You're laughing at a bat. A bat with a ridiculous upside down smile. His wife came to find out what the noise was, and she saw the bat, and she soon all the neighbours were queuing up to find out why they were laughing. And when the neighbours saw the bat with his ridiculous upside-down smile, they too began to And the thing about a laugh is that it is contagious. And it's the best kind of contagion. And soon everybody in Sikkim was laughing, roaring with laughter. And the sun, up in the sky, heard a strange noise coming from Sikkim, which woke him up. And as he woke up, he pulled the clouds apart and looked down and wondered why all the people of Sikkim were laughing and rolling around the floor in hilarity. And then the sun saw the ridiculous upside-down smile of the bat, and the sun began to and as he laughed, the clouds dispersed, and there was a beautiful blue sky over Sikkim, and the sun shone down and has shone down on Sikkim ever since. So if you think that the bird of trouble has been hovering over our land, and you're worried that the sun will not shine down on us again, well, there's the answer. We fight it with our laughter. We share our laughter, and we watch other people catch our laughter, and then the clouds will surely lift from us in the same way that they did in Sikkim. For the sun shone down on Sikkim and will shine down on us. And that's the story of the day the sun smiled, and that's how I have told it to you.